Hello, and welcome back to our lecture on non-experimental research, Chapter 7. In this chapter, I'll talk about quasi-experimental designs. The first quasi-experimental design that I'll talk about is the idea of a non-equivalent groups design. What happens in a non-equivalent groups design is that you have two groups of participants. Here's the first group, here's the second group of participants. The first group of participants here is essentially a control group. They are observed once, and then they're observed later in time. Our second group here of participants, they are observed once, then they receive some sort of treatment, and then they're observed again. This is a pre-test, post-test design, but what makes it the non-equivalent groups design is that there's no sense of random assignment here. Let's say that you are a psychologist and you want to see how introducing a new clinical technique will help your patients. You have two groups of patients, one group that meets on Mondays and Wednesdays, and one group that meets on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Now what you could do here is that your participants here, your patients, they come to just one session, Monday, Wednesday, or the other, right? Tuesday, Thursday. So there's no way to randomly assign your patients to a treatment group or experimental group. What you have to do is just select one of the patient groups to be your comparison group and the other group to be your experimental group. Let's say in this case that your Tuesday, Thursday group is the one receiving your new therapy technique. Your Monday, Wednesday group is measured once on Monday. The Tuesday, Thursday group is measured on Tuesday. Then the treatment happens on the Thursday group, and then the following Monday, your Monday, Wednesday group is measured again, and then the following Tuesday, your Tuesday, Thursday group is measured again. Why you're doing this is because you're trying to create some sort of comparison group to just make sure that time alone doesn't cause some sort of improvement here. If you saw a significant change between the Monday, Wednesdays group first and second observations, well, you know that time or some other threat to internal validity here is influencing your results. Whereas if these two observations are the same, but your Tuesday, Thursday observations change significantly at the second observation, well, now we know that it's your treatment here that's causing that difference. So non-equivalence groups design acts very similarly to our basic two-group experimental design. The key difference here is that, of course, we do not have the ability to randomly assign participants to groups. Another type of quasi-experimental design actually uses only one group of participants. This one group of participants is actually measured multiple times prior to having some sort of experimental treatment, and then they're measured multiple times again after that treatment. Part of why you want to do this is that by having multiple observations prior to some sort of treatment, you have a true sense of the validity and reliability of these observations. That way, when you do your treatment, you have more data after the treatment to check and see, is the result reliable and valid across time as well? For example, let's say that you have a classroom of third graders that are just all over the place. So what you can do is you can maybe look at the number of off-task behaviors that students are observing in and find the average number of off-task behaviors for that group every day. So you do that maybe for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, right? Now we've got a week's worth of data on what these third graders are doing. Then you implement some new behavior management system. Let's say they're getting stickers every time they behave properly. Then you will measure their behaviors for the next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And now you have a week's worth of data to see, do the stickers really work? Are students less squirrely? Are they engaging in more on-task behaviors during the second week than they were as compared to the first week? So this interrupted time series design is a little different for us in that it involves only one group of participants, but The beauty of this design comes in these repeated pre-treatment measures and the repeated post-treatment measures. It allows us to see trends and allows us to see reliability in a way that only a single measurement cannot. Now, obviously, this is a quasi-experimental design because there's no random assignment to groups here. The people who are in your group being surveyed are the people in your group. So we do lack some internal validity because now we're not quite sure. Maybe you have just a really responsive group of third graders. Maybe they just really like stickers, and so they change their behaviors because they like stickers so much. If you have this quasi-experimental design, one of the things you could do is you could run this study once, and then perhaps maybe the next school year you run it again to see, do multiple groups of third graders respond to stickers in the same way? That would increase your internal validity. So now I hope you understand a little bit more about quasi-experimental designs.